You're listening to Captain John Doe, real aviation stories told anonymously. Let's get into it. Hey, welcome back to the Captain John Doe podcast. I'm Mindy.
And I am Kevin. Welcome back, everybody.
And listen, guys, I know we don't have video. We might have video one day. We're just trying to keep it simple right now. But if it was on video, you guys would notice that Kevin looks so different right now.
Oh, we're going to talk about that, aren't we?
It's very it's relevant, I'd say. So Kevin has had a beard our entire relationship. And I came home from a trip the other day and it was gone, baby-faced.
It is all gone. And there's a reason behind that, because if you guys have been following along, I have retired from ATC to pursue.
Retire's a big word.
I like to use the word retire.
You quit.
I didn't quit because I'm still going to receive a pension, Mindy. Okay.
Retire, a big word. Anyway,
I retired. All right. We had a midlife crisis and said, we want to fly airplanes. So we moved out to Vegas. I'm sure you guys have all been following the story, and I've been flight instructing and I've been building hours. Along building hours, I was advised to get into some cadet programs. And because of some really awesome women in my life, specifically my wife and
shout out
Captain Kayla Crescenzo, really helped me out with advising me into some cadet programs. So I got accepted into the PSA cadet program, but that comes with a caveat. You have to do your interview. I have my interview coming up in just a few days from now. So Kevin had to shave his beard after 9 years to look the part.
I think it's a silly rule. I feel like the beard thing is so outdated. I know that beards can interfere with oxygen masks, but if they're neat and tidy and shorter, I feel like it's probably fine. I think this is an old school rule that's just kind of annoying.
You know, I thought the same thing, but then I was reading more and more in depth, and there's a lot of like medical professionals that chime in with this argument. And when they're putting oxygen masks on patients that have beards, the seal's not 100%. So like when I hear doctors and EMTs, saying things like that, of course the airlines are going to take the easy way out.
But do we have photos of said beards? Is it any beard or is it just big beards?
Sure, because my beard's not down to my chest. It's just a little bit of hair there. There's no way a mask is going to impede on it, but, here we are.
Okay, second part of that is also kind of crazy to me that they make you shave for just the interview. So, like, at this point, you don't even know if you have the job, but you must show up with a shaven face. To me, it would make a lot more sense if you interviewed as whoever you are, however you want to present yourself. And then if you get the job, they say, okay, a requirement of this job is you have to shave your beard. Like, are you okay with that? And you say yes. But the fact that you had to shave your beard many months before you even are getting this job is just kind of crazy to me.
It's the age-old statement. You dress like the job you want, not the job you have.
I know. Well, you did it, and I know that you are not looking forward to that. You were terrified to shave your face.
I went to a barber shop and had them do the whole thing. They took a straight razor to me, they took an electric razor, and another electric razor to hacksaw it all off.
It's
gone.
It took me a day to eyes adjust to who you are. Like, you look like a different person.
When we first started dating, I was shaven, but that was in like 2013.
Yeah, that was a really long time ago.
2025 for you guys who are listening right now. That's a long time.
Yeah. Well, I'm proud of you. You're doing the thing.
I'm doing it. I'm all in. I'm bought in. This is what I want to do. So if they're going to make me shave, I'm going to shave. And that's just it.
Oh, also, you didn't just shave for the interview. You also shaved because you're going to a conference.
Correct. So another thing for everybody listening, this is new for me. All of these aviation career fairs are going to be at conferences. And the one coming up in Orlando this month is the Latino Pilots Association. So we just happened to be in Florida that week for my brother's wedding. Shout out to Mitch. So I'm going to be at the Latino Pilots Association conference. And once again, dress for the job you want, not for the job you have.
Right. So, I mean, honestly, great timing that your airline interview plus the conference was at the same time. So you just kind of shaved for both. And then hopefully in a couple months, hopefully this is a recurring problem.
Yeah.
And you got to keep shaving.
Yeah. I think this episode is going to be out before that conference. So if any of you recruiters are listening, make sure you make a comment of my freshly clean shaven beard.
Great.
So
that brings me, though, to think about, we're always asking you guys for submissions, and we've been getting awesome ones. I wish you guys could see our email inbox.
it is
lit.
We have enough content right now for at least 6 months.
Not even volume, just like the quality of what's coming in makes me cry laughing just sitting here by myself sifting through the email inbox.
You know how easy it is for me? I'm literally just reading the first one and then going down the list because they're all good. We're going to get to everybody's, I promise. Like, it's coming. I mean, all of our like episode topics pretty much are going to be submission based. There's going to be some like oddball stories from Reddit or something online, like last week, how it was like a news story. But these submissions are great, and this is how we keep this podcast rolling. Because if we have to go seek out this, it just won't happen. We need you guys to just keep on bringing it.
Well, it's more fun. We're generating a community of people that want to share their story, don't really know the right platform to do so. We are learning a lot from all of these. Like, say, for instance, you send us an airline interview story, which we would love. Kevin's going to go through that whole process. Hopefully we will have stories to share with you back.
I think I'll share some stuff.
But let's say someone submitted a airline interview that resulted in this crazy, failure in their eyes or whatever, and they submit it, we get to read it. That just helps everyone else learn from it. So this is entertaining and that's fun, but also we're learning from all these things.
Everything is always learning. This is an entertaining podcast, but you guys have listened long enough that our stories usually have some impact in it, some learning experiences for us. So you guys can take that as you wish. We're not here teaching you. Remember that. We're here entertaining each other and you guys.
Keeping it lighthearted.
Lighthearted. This is not a CFI or airline interview prep podcast.
No. Oh my gosh. Please don't take notes of anything we say.
So when we say this, we want like the good interviews. Like you had something ridiculous happen or you had a fail. This is the time to share it because it's anonymous. It feels good talking about things that didn't go your way.
Here's where I am struggling. I have had a lot of things happen to me in the past, let's say, couple months. There's several like huge things in my aviation career that have happened to me that I am dying to share. But being the host, it's so hard. Like, do I make it anonymous? Do I own it? I have some things I need to work on my end, but
for you guys listening, I told her to make it anonymous because that's the whole point of this podcast, and it will be great because we all have stories, we all do,
and I have several. We'll get to them. I know we will in some way, shape, or form.
So, what about you? What did you end up doing this past week? Because you left the nest for a little bit and went and had some fun down in San Antonio, right?
Yeah, this week I went to the Citation Jet Pilot Conference. It's a conference. There's an annual one every year. It's in a different location every year, and it's for Citation Jet pilots, particularly owners of Citation Jets, to get together and have a really great 3 days of learning different panels from Garmin or from Honeywell or Pratt & Whitney. It's all these really great people that come together, and it's this little symposium. I went on behalf of the company I work for, Lone Mountain Aircraft. If you guys didn't know, I'm an aircraft broker, so I actively buy and sell aircraft for people. Citations is part of what we do. So myself and two of my coworkers attended. And then, of course, I'm also a citation rated pilot. I have 2 citation type ratings, one in the 525, which is like the M2, the CJ3 Plus, and it covers 9 different citations. And then I'm also type rated in the citation longitude. So I really enjoy going that way. I get to learn and also get work done, try to get new clients for aircraft sales. But it was really fun because I got to go with my friend Stephanie and her husband Endra. We flew in their Citation 5. So I got to arrive in style.
In style. And a little impromptu concert, right?
Yeah, they had a private concert. Textron Aviation is the biggest sponsor of CJP, and they have a lot of great connections over there at Cessna Beechcraft, my old stomping grounds, and they had a private concert by Jordan Davis.
Wow. And I was left out. Yep. Always.
But I sent you videos, and you were invited. You just chose not to come.
Chose. Well, we're not all about citations, right? We're a big warbird. Well, I can't even say that word right. Warbird enthusiasts, aren't we?
Yeah, I'll say I'm not the most educated about warbirds, but I love them. Who doesn't? Before we took the Citation 5, we took a flight, me and my friend Stephanie, me and my girlfriend, we hopped in the L-39 and went on an L-39 flight around Vegas. We did a couple rolls. We kind of ripped through the Red Canyons, just a short flight, but it was really awesome. And both of those flights we filmed for YouTube, so you guys will be able to check those out on my channel.
I can't wait. I'm probably your biggest fan.
So anyways, all that to say, if any of that sparked anything inside of you guys of, I have a story about that, head to CaptainJohnDoe.com. Doesn't even ask for your name, so go on and send it in and let us read it. So
let's read the first one.
I'm ready if you are.
All right. This is from a submission from one of you guys. Not a long story or necessitates anonymity, but thought you guys would like it seeing where you live and where you're from. I was flying into Vegas late one night, and the arrivals are notoriously tricky to meet speed and altitude restrictions if you're heavy, fast, lazy, etc. There's a Delta 757 in front of us, assuming from Atlanta, and the controller cleared them for the arrival, and they acknowledged. Then we were given clearance down the arrival, but noticed the Delta hadn't started their descent. The controller queries Delta, "Are you going to be able to make the restriction on the arrival?" "Yes," was the reply. A few minutes later, the controller comes back. "Delta, I need you to start your descent if you're going to make the bottom altitude." The voice on the radio from the Delta plane changes, assuming it's the captain now replying. In the most stereotypical Southern accent, the pilot says, "Sir, when I finish my dessert, I'll descend my airplane and not a second earlier. I'll meet your precious restrictions if you give me a minute to finish my meal." One of the funniest exchanges I've ever heard.
I don't even know if I find it funny.
What
a dork.
I find it funny because
what a dork.
If we remember, I worked Atlanta. So I worked all you guys listening that are Delta guys, all the Delta captains, and they were notorious to say anything they wanted.
That's crazy though. Like that there's, I don't know. How do you even put that into words? Like, I'm not so much of like a stiff straight arrow, but if you're on an arrival and you need to start descending, you shouldn't be telling ATC that you have to finish your meal first. That's not their problem. They don't give a crap about that.
It's not, but it sparks like a bunch of memories that I have of like not as coy responses, like errors that like me or my coworkers have made. Like that airline out of any was always adamant in speaking up when something wasn't their way. So like an example, when I went to Orlando and I first started training on the final sector, this one holds, like, I still think about this one. I was a new trainee at a new facility and vectoring all these airplanes into Orlando. And it was a terrible vector that I gave this Delta guy. And he let me have it on frequency. And that stuck with me. I think my whole training changed after that day because he literally says on the frequency, it was busy. I probably had 15 planes. And they said, that was terrible job. You need to do better. And I took a deep breath and I said, "You're right, sir. I do need to do better."
Well, okay. I feel like he got lucky that he was right, that you did a bad job, because there's a lot of times that us as pilots think you're doing a bad job and we're like, what are you doing? But maybe you have an emergency on another frequency. Maybe we're up against an airspace that you don't own. Maybe there's weather that's making everyone deviate. It's hard as a pilot to confidently say air traffic control did a bad job because we don't have the whole picture. So I think that he just got lucky. That
no, you're 100%. Like, because the whole picture was, this was like day one, me working the busiest push of my life. And that's the reality.
Well, how many times have pilots came on and bitched at you about how you're controlling them and they don't know that any of those examples were going on, that you had an emergency on frequency, that you're moving people out of the way because they just got on frequency and they're not aware.
Yeah, I can say this with like confidence across the NAS. Like, there's not a controller that typically, this is 99%, is trying to inconvenience you. Like, how controllers work is efficiency. If you want to call that lazy, whatever you want to call it, that's what it is. It is like, whatever the easiest,
you guys are solving problems.
Yeah, whatever the easiest way to solve a problem is what you're getting. And especially routing. Like, this goes back to the Atlanta days. Like, you guys all know, whoever flies over the Atlanta VOR and the Vulcan VOR, I'm sure you have nightmares about the routes that you'll get during weather season. And all the complaints come my way. You know who doesn't have a say in the routes? The controller giving it to you. They don't come up with those routes. They're being told what to do. So yeah, like I always appreciated a good jab, especially if it was like well placed. That was the key. You know, like I wanted a well-timed jab.
Such a lucky jab.
It is. Like this one, this guy, the controller at Vegas, is concerned about them not making an arrival. Not a well-placed jab. You know, you need something a little bit better timed, I think.
What do you mean?
Like, this was like a real thing. Like, he was clearly high and forgot.
Yeah.
So the Delta captain was just trying to come off and make a joke to make him think that, oh, he didn't forget to start down. But he did forget to start
Maybe
down.
I'm a stickler, but I don't think the frequency is a place to make stupid, sarcastic comments and jokes. And if he wants to finish his meal, maybe he needs to sit in the back. That's my take.
Fair enough. I could tell a lot more stories of this, but I'm going to move on.
So our next one, I'm actually pulling from Reddit, mainly because I have a lot of tabs open on my computer of stories that I love on Reddit, and I'm ready to close a few. So I'm going to pull from this side so I can start to clean up my computer. I think I have introduced to you guys already the Am I the Asshole thread on Reddit, which, as a refresher, is where people from all over the planet post different scenarios, and then the commenters vote if they were the asshole in this scenario or not. It is not an aviation specific thread. However, every once in a while you'll find something related, and I did. So the title of this is, Am I the Asshole for calling my husband insane for missing work just to teach me a lesson because I didn't iron his uniform?
Oh, here we go. Spicy.
This is a Jane Doe. Days ago, I, a stay-at-home mom with 3 kids, was in the midst of doing laundry when my husband, the breadwinner who works as a pilot, asked if I could iron his uniform before his shift. I didn't say yes because I was busy. Laundry, then kids, homework, and cooking, etc. I said I might not find the time to do it. He turned around and walked away, completely ignoring what I was saying. An hour later, he came downstairs freaking out, asking why I didn't iron his uniform when he asked me to. I told him I was busy and reminded him of how I didn't say yes to his request. He blew up, saying that I obviously don't care about him displaying professionalism at work. Isn't it just a uniform? It's not like it was dirty. It just needed some ironing. He lectured me about how his work is so important, and although I'm a stay-at-home mom, I should still make his job a priority. He decided to miss his shift as a way to teach me a lesson and show me how my lack of cooperation and my refusal to help him out could affect the money that keeps coming in. I called him insane for missing his shift, and he got offended and called me a hypocrite for calling him insane, acting all surprised when it was me who caused this situation to happen. I mean, I could have taken some time off doing my chores to iron his uniform, but still thought his reaction was a bit much. Am I the asshole? For those asking why he didn't iron the uniform himself, because I'm the one who usually does the ironing, and he says it's on the list of my house chores list, which is true, but I don't give it priority like the other chores and homework and other laundry.
Okay, so let's be clear. Me and you are not the right people to probably talk about this.
No.
Right?
No, because we have
not.
a very modern relationship.
But what does that mean? Like modern, I don't even know if that's the right word. We both work, right? So we do chores as needed.
Well, it's modern versus traditional. Have you ever heard trad wife?
Okay, I get it. It's not what's that show called again? Where they wear the little Amish hats. Not making fun of anybody. The Handmaid's Tale. Mindy and I live a modern lifestyle because we both work full-time jobs. So if there's dishes in the sink, whoever's home is going to clean the dishes. There's not a chore list to do. So like this story,
we're in a partnership.
Yeah, this story is hard for, I'd say, both of us to kind of resonate because our reaction would be the dude is the asshole. But let me take a step back. I'm not going to throw anybody on the bus here, but I have a really good friend of mine who worked at one of my previous employers. And we were talking about laundry. And I was talking about how I do my own laundry. And this was bonkers to my friend. And he wasn't being mean about it. He just was like confused. And then I asked him, like, have you ever done your laundry, as a joke? And he said no. And then he shared the story that his wife went out of town for a few days and he had to call her on how to turn it on.
Oh no.
And that's when I take a step back because we have a relationship where that's not how we run it. And I'm not going to say yes or no because whoever you want to live your lifestyle is up to you. That's not for me to decide. I will say that because when we talked, like my buddy was like really upset at himself when I was talking to him about that because he looked at me like, am I treating my wife wrong? Like,
was his wife a stay-at-home wife?
Yes. So he was like talking to me, he's like, am I treating my wife wrong? And I was like, that's not for me to decide. Like, if you guys have a marriage contract where she said, if she said she wants to do X, Y, and Z, and X, Y, and Z, it happens to be taking care of the kids, doing laundry and cooking food, and that's what she told you she wants to do, go ahead. I am not going to be someone to stop there, but that's not what we do.
I guess you just brought me back down to earth. I was very fiery when I read this, but now I think that you just made a great point. It depends on their prior expectations. If she always irons his uniform prior to work, and then this one time as he's walking out the door, it wasn't done, then I could see why he'd be upset. However, in that moment, you would think a grown man, a qualified pilot working for a major airline, would then just iron his shirt and go to work. And
he's still insane.
He called out to teach her a lesson.
That's not it's the first part. The second half, 100% insane.
Someone says, I don't trust this guy to keep my plane in the sky if he can't even iron his own damn shirt and handle his own damn emotions. The idea that she'd be worse off is understandable, but if he keeps this up, not true. And then someone else said, what if an air hostess didn't bring him a drink because they were helping some kid in the back? Gonna stop flying this plane to teach you a lesson. You know what's sad is that scenario, not that extreme, probably happens with this guy, is if he doesn't get his meal delivered. Yeah. And then I'll read one more comment. Someone said, definitely could see behavior like this leading to him losing his job as a pilot. And then someone responded saying, absolutely. I worked in aviation for a while, and a pilot just missing their shift with no notice on the day of is a big deal. It's a big deal for any job for sure. But pilots are expected to have schedules that come before anything else in their life. And they went on and on about why he should lose his job. So, well, I don't want you to get upset over this because, obviously you are a woman in aviation. So there's a lot of,
topics, especially in the past couple of years, that are happening, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of comments revert back to this exact scenario where you should be the one ironing the shirt.
Right.
So that's why I say, from our point of view, like, because I want to get excited here and get fiery, but like, we are not suited to really answer that because we live a modern, we'll use that word again, modern life.
Well, yeah. I mean, how I describe it to people is we both have full-time careers, and sometimes some weeks you're working more than me, and I pull
You're
more
gone
weight,
a lot.
and I pull more weight in the house, and sometimes I'm working more than you and you pull more weight in the house. Like, we don't have a set list of like, you do the dishes and I do this. It's just, there's things that need to be done in the house, and whoever's home and available to do it does it.
Listen, if my laundry needs cleaned, I'm going to clean my laundry. It's that simple.
Yeah, that's facts. We kind of run our own laundry because I don't know when you need stuff
I don't even know when you're going to be home.
Right. I'm in and out on trips. Like, that just wouldn't be feasible if we were on any type of schedule, chore schedule. We just do stuff as we can. So I don't know. Maybe we're different from everyone else. You guys let us know. Are we different, or is everyone living like this?
I think we're
I don't
a little
know.
different. I think we're different. Okay. Well, I like that. All right. I got another submission here. I got my license at Evergreen Airport near Portland, Oregon in 1977. I was 17 years old. I was training in a Cherokee 140, an old beat-up plane with lots of things missing in the panel. I was flying one day with a CFI. We'll call him Keith. Now, Evergreen, which is no longer there, is probably 3 to 4 miles from Portland International. At one point, Keith told me to take my hood off. Well, after all those maneuvers, climbing, turning, unusual attitudes, when I took my hood off, we were in the clouds. In a cloud? A few short miles from Portland without a clearance. At that point, suggested we climb where we broke out on top with a few hundred feet. Now we're on top with a solid base below us. Wait, this gets better. Keith asked me, do you want to see what it's like to be a Learjet coming out of the clouds? My answer, remember, I was 17. Sure. So Keith, okay, out of the airplane. He proceeded to dive us at a fairly steep angle into the clouds below. No sooner had we entered that, he hauled back on the yoke and immediately popped back out as vertically as you could be. We departed the cloud in the blue sky, and I watched it simply by turning my head left over my left shoulder. It was spectacular, but also pretty stupid. So at that point, we had to get back down. So Keith suggested we tool around a bit and find a sucker hole. We found one and spiraled down through it. Keith eventually went on to fly for an airline, I believe. I learned a lesson of how a cocky person might very well kill you if you let them. All this while jet traffic was descending through the same clouds a few short miles away into Portland. I remember telling this story to my Uncle Bill. Uncle Bill is who introduced me to flying. Uncle Bill flew charters that he flew at a Seneca and 310. Uncle Bill told me he would love to punch Keith.
Yeah, Keith sucks.
Keith sucks.
Keith really sucks.
Don't fly with Keith.
Man, you got a little kid that you're taking care of in a small plane, and you're going to go do reckless stuff like that. Someone who obviously doesn't know well enough, and you're going to be popping in and out of clouds on the departure arrivals wherever they were. It doesn't even matter. I mean, the rules are in there for a place, right? The FAA isn't notoriously good at putting rules out ahead of time. They say they write rules in blood, right? Bad accident, there's a rule. So why do we not fly into clouds without a clearance? Well, maybe we want to see the other airplanes around.
Here's the thing. People truly don't understand how fast jets are. They just don't. And I see this so often when we talk about traffic patterns too. I don't want to get into that argument today, but like when you see online, like who's establishing the traffic pattern as a right of way rule when there's a Learjet on a 3 mile final, you just don't know how fast they are. That's why the rules exist. So you're popping in and out of clouds, and those jets are going 250 knots with some wind. So they're easily going 350 miles an hour. It's crazy to think that you would do that with a student, let alone a 17-year-old kid, and show them something so
Reckless.
Dumb.
Stupid.
Dumb.
Yeah, that's really
the most
frustrating.
reckless thing I ever would do in an airplane with a student is show them what not to do in a stall recovery. So, i.e., 0G the plane. That's about it. That's as fun as I'm going to get as your instructor. I'm sorry if you guys want to come into Vegas and you think we're going to have a good time. We're going to have a great time. But we're going to do a 0G just to prove a point of what not to do.
This reminds me of something very specific, actually. When we were living in Georgia, I won't say the type of aircraft or who it was. We'll keep it anonymous.
Oh.
Do you know what I'm about to say?
I don't know. My brain went a lot of ways because when we were in Georgia, there's some cowboys out there.
There's a lot of cowboys where we lived in Georgia, but in particular, there was a person that would take a lot of kids up for rides.
Okay.
Tracking?
Ringing a bell.
So this person would take a lot of kids in the aviation community up for rides all the time and notoriously would go up and fly through cloud layers, overcast layers. Atlanta, Georgia had a ton of bad weather and they would go fly without clearances all through the clouds all the time. Like repeat offender with children on board.
I just don't get it. Like, I get the arrogance of yourselves thinking you're going to be safe, you know, flying through the clouds, but it's not about that. It's about the other people, like the other planes in the sky. That's what it's about. It's not about you. Like, that's where it's so selfish when we deviate off of these rules. I get it. The monotonous of the FAA and everything that we have to learn and follow. I get it, but it's there because of blood.
Do you think that people are getting complacent with ADSB?
100%. I'm not going to make an argument against it, but of course, my students, I see it every day, and it's like nails on a chalkboard, where their eyes first go in there, and they start staring at it and moving their finger on the map, looking at it, and I'm like, they're right there.
Like, look outside.
Like, they're right in front of us.
So for anyone listening, ADSB is a traffic indicator, essentially. So on the screens in the cockpit, if you have what's called ADSB in, it'll show you, in theory, all the aircraft around you. However, there's some aircraft that are not required to have the ADSB out, which is the only way it would show on your screen. And then there's some people that simply refuse to do it and are just flying around illegally. There's a lot of people online and forums that are really against ADSB, which I think is personally crazy. I think more tools and more resources, the better. But we shouldn't get complacent, which is what I was trying to bring up. But I would say a lot of people might be getting complacent thinking that their fancy screen is showing them every single traffic person possible. It's like, oh yeah, of course I can go fly through that cloud or that overcast layer because I'm looking at my screen and there's nobody around.
Crazy. And that goes back to our cowboy days in Georgia with all of our little friends out there. I'm glad me and you both experienced that because we get to see firsthand that no, everybody does not have ADSB.
Yeah.
They do not. And that's like a big thing that we both have at our hands because we fly airplanes that are better equipped than the airlines, right? Like
right.
The ADSB we have, the situational awareness is awesome, but I know that there's always somebody out there, and it's always in my training now. Like, it's funny that you brought that up because I never think about that when I'm going to these uncontrolled fields that we do pattern work at, but I always am like over the moon on clearing the area when we're coming into land, taking off, because I know for a fact that there are people out here in Vegas. You know, Vegas is not as backcountry as where we live because we're underneath the Mode C veil, to get a little specific, where you're required to have ADSB. But I do think it is adding an enormous layer of complacency. I don't even know if we would call it complacency, because if we're training them to use the screen, is that complacency where they don't know any better?
Well, you don't train them that way.
I don't, but I'm not in the cockpit with everybody. Not everybody flew at a grass strip for 4 years and understands that there's a lot of airplanes that still work that don't have radios.
Well, let this be our PSA.
They don't have radios.
All right, going into our last story of today, I have one that's I'd say like mildly sad, but I think that we're going to be able to turn this into some really great advice.
Okay.
I think a lot of people are going to resonate with this exact story. The title is Love Flying but Burned Out After CPL.
Okay.
CPL, commercial pilot license. I passed my CPL check ride about a month ago after a long gap since my instrument rating. The goal has always been the airlines, but I graduated last year with a non-aviation degree and put off getting a job using my degree, assuming I'd be instructing soon. Fortunately, I have enough saved to get through CFI, but lately training feels like pulling teeth. Driving an hour each way to the airport just to practice power off 180s in silence or flying short solo out and backs is draining. I don't feel present in the cockpit, which worries me from a safety standpoint. Don't even get me started on trying to force myself to study regulations or the FOIs. Watching paint dry would be more entertaining than reading any of the PHAC, AIM, or instructor handbook. It's frustrating because I do love flying. During my commercial time building, I flew long cross countries, brought friends along, and explored new places. That felt purposeful because I was logging hours anyway. Now, with rental rates up and my 250 hours met, I just can't justify dropping thousands of dollars on fun flights while I'm unemployed. I've applied for FBO and gate agent jobs just to stay around aviation and earn something back, but I haven't heard anything back yet. Meanwhile, my friends from college are 1 to 2 years into their careers, and I just feel stuck. I'm committed to aviation, but completely burnt out on the grind that's supposed to get me there. When family or friends ask for updates, all I can say is that I'm getting there slowly. Does anyone have any words of wisdom or advice on how I can reignite my passion?
I think that this story resonates with a lot of people.
I think every single pilot has hit this moment, and if they didn't, then they're lying to you.
Yeah, especially the financial burden.
Yeah.
You know, that's been a big topic as we get older, and we have a lot of our friends that are going down this path. Because of your experience, you get asked these questions a lot. And now I'm starting to get asked some of them because I'm in this space. And it's always a hard thing to talk to somebody about. Because at the end of the day, and this for you listening out there, if you're in this boat, it's all on you, no matter what. So you have to sit there and decide what is it that you want. Because if you want to be an airline pilot, then you have to go through the monotonous of the FOIs. You have to figure out a way to pay for it. We can't do anything about that. You know, we can't change the rental price market. I can't make the wet hourly rate cheaper.
Yeah, but you also can't discount their frustration here.
No, I know. So this is where it comes down to what can you control? That's all you have to focus on. And this is how I've gotten through everything in my life when it was baseball, ATC, pilot, changing careers. What is it that I can control? So for you out there who is in the training environment, what can you control? You can control everything you do at home. You can be prepared for every single flight and every single lesson. That way you save yourself money. What you can't control is what happens in the check ride. You know, if you have some weird, crazy abnormality, can't control that. But you can prep for every possible scenario. You can't control the hiring market. We can't control the stock market. That has everything to do with our industry. Let's be clear. Like, money is everything about airlines because it's all based on leisurely travel for the most part.
Well, that's all true, but this person in particular is not worried about money. They're just feeling burnout.
I understand, but I think the burnout right now is coming from the doom and gloom of the job market. I think
a lot of pilots are feeling
that is so. You're right. I think I got a little tunnel vision there on one track, but I think a lot of doom and gloom because I see it now online every single day about all these instructors who have put all their time in and all this money and can't even get. I shouldn't even say instructors can't even get an instructor job. Let's not even get to the airline part. So I think that's like a big part of this burnout. Whereas 3 years ago, when the hiring was a feeding frenzy, there was not a lot of burnout then because there was a clear
as quickly as
goal.
As quickly as you got your licenses is as quick as you got your dream job.
So right now, let's talk about like that. Like, it's not like that anymore, and it's not abnormal.
You felt this a lot lately. I mean, we just talked about at the beginning of this episode that you were fortunate enough to get chosen to have an interview for this cadet program. But prior to that, what was your feelings about the job market? How was that going?
Definitely scary. You know, as somebody who quit a career to do this, like, it's very scary. And a lot of thoughts crept into my mind about changing the path to a Part 135 or a 91 job. And even then, that's going to be doom and gloom. So, like, yeah, it's been a big concern. I mean, I would come home routinely and try to talk to you, and you did a great job as a wife and tried to, like, push it off. You know what I mean?
You were experiencing burnout because you didn't have the carrot in front of your face of this glamorous job, because the hiring market has and is really stuffy right now. So you would come home just kind of like, I don't know, you really like your job, and you always have during this entire process, but there's no doubt that you would come home disappointed that you work so hard, flying all day, every day. You've been flying over 100 hours a month. For everyone listening, let that sink in. He's been crushing it. And just like without that cherry right in front of you of what's about to happen next, just makes for a frustrating environment. So what you've mentioned, how I kind of pushed it off, it wasn't that I wasn't hearing you out. I was just like, hey, you're not even ready for that dream job yet. You're at that point, you're at 500 hours, you're at 600 hours, you're at 700 hours. We have so much further to go. So let's just stay the course. And then let's have this conversation once you're qualified. And if we can't find anything, but whether that job is hiring right now or not, doesn't matter. You're not eligible. Who cares?
You're right. So it goes back to what I said earlier about what can you control? So what is it that I can control? I can control how I do my job. And if I do my job well, my students keep coming back. That's the kicker is, you know, we hear online, don't be that instructor that's just time building. I want to tell you, like, be selfish. Like, be selfish. You want to time build, but how do we time build, be selfish, make money, and get customers to come back? You do a good job. Mm-hmm. You show up every day prepared. That 4 a.m. alarm clock goes off. You make the pot of coffee and you just let it go and you get to work and you do the best you can do. Because if I do the best job I can, that person comes back tomorrow and then the next day. And then you're sitting on the couch saying you're at 700 hours now. You're at 800 hours now. You're at 900 hours now. You got an interview now.
Yeah. It's, you know, ounces make pounds, cents make dollars. Like, you don't become rich overnight.
Small habits make big changes.
That's exactly right. And that's flying careers is, unfortunately, it's small gains. But the really cool thing, and we just had this conversation yesterday between the two of us, is that you see visible progress every day. You just came to me saying, man, I only flew like 30 hours this week or so, something insane. I was like, dude, that's so much. You know, it seems like for you, every like another 100 hours that you hit is kind of like a big milestone.
It seems that way.
It feels good. You have like that rewarding feeling of hitting 900, and then now 1,000 is next. And that all feels nice. 30 hours is a big chunk of 100. And that's where we just talked about this. I said, honey, cents make dollars. Ounces make pounds. You've got to slowly chip away to see that big sculpture at the end. And the cool thing about aviation is you see progress every day. As an aircraft broker, sometimes I will be working on projects for clients, trying to buy a plane, trying to sell them a plane, working with people for several months, sometimes even several years. And I get paid a whopping $0 for all of my time. I only get paid if an aircraft closes. So while I'm trying to help people and we're having conversations and video calls and I'm sending listings and I'm reviewing logbooks, all of that is free work. Free. I don't see any progress at all. So days go by for me, many, many days sometimes, where I see zero progress in my career until I get to a closing. And then there's a nice big change. But when you're flight training and you're logging hours, every single day you get to see progress. And I think that's so cool. Every single day You can lay in bed at night and look at your digital logbook and be like, yep, I made progress today. I think that's pretty awesome.
See, that's why I married you. Positive support and reinforcement.
It's true, though.
Control what you can control. Marry somebody that supports you.
I like that your mantra is control what you can control because you're an ex-controller. That's
it
funny.
is. It always has been. Even before I was a controller.
You're so controlling.
Control with you what you can control, people. That's how you get through that gridlock.
Before we finish, back to this story about burnout. What advice can we give to people who are experiencing burnout in flight training that just feel tired from the grind, that feel, not that they're out of money, not that anything's going bad, but they're just burnt out, just like you get burnt out at any other job?
The easiest example is to go fly somewhere outside of the training area and remember that first discovery flight you took and why you did it. Mm-hmm. Because I find that myself with students where we're doing the same flights every single day. And then it dawns on me before I let it dawn on them that we're going to go somewhere and have fun. Like, remember why you're doing it, because you can't get into this career for money. Let's just be clear. Like, obviously we know how much money airline pilots make, but you cannot get to that point if you're just chasing money, because it is so difficult and so taxing on yourself. So all of us, and I say this, hopefully everybody listening is doing this because they love to fly.
Yeah, but sometimes you get so zoomed in, it's hard to zoom out and remember why you're doing it. So that's good advice, though, to get out of the training environment. I guess I have 2 recommendations, 2 doctor's orders, I would say. My first recommendation is similar to what you said, which is they mentioned that they really loved long cross countries, flying with friends, going new places, going to restaurants. Bring some of that back in. And that kind of goes back to, I struggle with this as well. It's really hard for me to fly without a mission. I understand that's a total first world problem. Many people would love to have access to an aircraft and be able to crank it up and just go rip into the sky with nowhere to go. But pilots, a lot like me, are type A people who like an agenda, who like things to do. So what I try to do when I'm going flying, maybe it's time building, maybe it's for currency or whatever. Currency is a great mission. But if it's just kind of like a little local flight, need to go run the plane, maybe the mission is spot landing. Maybe the mission is a photo mission. Maybe the mission is to go fly over something that I haven't flown over before and take a friend with me. You just kind of have to create a mission. So even your most tired local flight can turn into something with new life if you attach a mission to it. Or maybe, I think the easiest ones, especially if you don't have anywhere to go, is working on your landings. Try to land not only on the numbers, try to land on the top of the numbers, get the wheel on it, throw a camera on the wing, and then go back and review the footage and see if you actually ever hit it. There's so much you can do to breathe new life in your flights. And then my second recommendation applies to burnout with anything. Go take a vacation. Take a break from it. Take a break from it.
Take a break.
And that's also for me watching you, Kevin. You've been working nonstop. You've had to stack all of your days off at work towards your brother's wedding coming up. So that means you have 0 days off when you've been here. And I could see it in your face how much you need a vacation.
I felt it today.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen often where I call myself fatigued, and I did it today.
Right. So I think everyone needs a break, even from things that they love. Everyone needs a break from it. If you love flying and you're feeling like this, you might need a break from it. Take a week or 2 off. Go on a vacation. Go do something that's not with airplanes. I do that quite frequently because I do aviation for a hobby. I do it for a career. That's how I put food on the table. That's what I wake up thinking about, going to sleep about. And I do get burnt out on airplanes. I have to go take vacations with no airplanes. So I recommend that to people, is just go take a break from whatever that thing is.
I love it. I want to keep this conversation going. So if you guys could give us some of your advice and drop us a comment on anything, in a couple podcasts down the road, I think Mindy and I want to revisit this topic because this is something that all of us have. So like our advice, you know, I think it helps us, but everybody's different. So like share what helps you guys, what got you through, or if you're in it now, what's helping you get over that ledge, right? You climb that ladder the whole time you're training. You just keep climbing. And you're like, where's the top? And then maybe you get to the top at your CPL, that's your commercial pilot's license. And then you're like, what now? What now? I just worked so hard for this. What now? Am I just going to drop off the ledge? Or am I going to climb another ladder, right?
Yeah. Aviation is full of ladders. That's what I'll say. There's always something new to learn, which is what I find pretty intriguing about the industry. But we'll leave you on that. Hopefully you are encouraged to see your flight training through. It's the most rewarding career I could ever tell you. And if you go to any airport and go shake a pilot's hand, they will tell you the same thing. So thanks for being here with us. Stay the course, and we will see you next time.
Control what you can control.
Okay, Mr. Controller. Bye.
See ya. Thanks for flying with Captain John Doe. If you have a story to share, visit CaptainJohnDoe.com and stay anonymous. New episodes every Wednesday. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and tell your favorite crew members.